So let me get this straight. The federal government and Alberta are sitting in a room, drawing up plans for a pipeline through British Columbia, the actual province where the thing would go, and somehow, BC wasn't invited to the conversation? Yeah, that happened. David Eby woke up last week, grabbed his morning coffee, opened the news, and was like, wait, what? Because apparently, learning about major infrastructure projects in your own province through media reports is just how we do things in Canada now. Forget consultation, forget collaboration, who needs that when you've got surprise pipeline announcements? Welcome back to Canadian Insights, where we break down the chaos that is Canadian politics, one bizarre decision at a. David Eby is not happy, folks. And honestly, can you blame him? On Monday, BC's Premier had a little chat with Prime Minister Mark Carney, and by little chat, I mean he basically told him this entire situation is unacceptable. Which, in Canadian political speak, is the equivalent of flipping a table. Eby made it crystal clear, any energy deal between Ottawa and Alberta better include some serious guardrails on taxpayer money being thrown at pipeline construction. Because nothing says fiscally responsible like potentially spending billions on infrastructure without checking in with the province it's literally running through, right? Here's the thing. Carney told Eby the deal with Alberta isn't finalized yet, which is political code for oops, we probably should have called you first. But hey, at least they're talking now, after the entire country found out about it through news articles. Nothing screams effective governance like retroactive consultation. Eby seized the opportunity during their conversation to outline BC's perspective, which I'm guessing involved a lot of pointed questions and maybe some deep breathing exercises. Now, let's talk about this Memorandum of Understanding that's supposedly dropping on Thursday in Calgary. According to federal sources, because everything in Ottawa leaks faster than a rusted pipeline, Prime Minister Carney and Alberta Premier Danielle Smith are planning to announce this deal. What's in it? Potentially changes to the industrial carbon price, support for a new pipeline from Alberta to the West Coast, and here's the kicker. They might need to carve out an exemption to the federal tanker ban. That ban that exists for environmental reasons? Yeah, that one. They're eyeing Bill C-5, the One Canadian Economy Act, to potentially slide this through via the new Major Projects Office. Because when you need to bypass environmental protections, just create a new office, problem solved. But wait, there's more. Eby said he was caught off guard by all of this. Caught off guard. The premier of the province where this pipeline would actually exist found out about the plan the same way you found out your favorite show got cancelled, through random internet browsing. That's not governance, that's a group project where someone forgot to add you to the group chat. Eby's reaction? He told Carney this approach is unacceptable. And he didn't stop there. Listen to this quote, because it's dripping with frustration. Eby said, I underlined for the Prime Minister how unacceptable it was to me to have Saskatchewan and Alberta speaking about matters in British Columbia without British Columbia at the table. Saskatchewan and Alberta. Talking about BC stuff. Without BC. It's like your neighbors discussing what color to paint your house while you're standing right there, and they just pretend you don't exist. The audacity is genuinely impressive. And then Eby went nuclear, well, Canadian nuclear, which means he was politely furious. He said, and I quote, this is not something that would happen to Quebec. This is not something that would happen to other provinces in the Federation. Oh, he went there. He pulled out the Quebec card. Because let's be real, he's not wrong. Can you imagine Ottawa and Alberta sitting down to plan a pipeline through Quebec without inviting Quebec to the meeting? The entire federal government would be in smoking ruins by lunchtime. Quebec would have deployed strongly worded press releases before breakfast. But BC? Apparently, BC gets the we'll tell you about it later treatment. Eby made it clear he expects British Columbia to be at the table going forward, novel concept, right? And he hopes his feedback is incorporated into any final agreement. Translation, you better rewrite this thing, or we're going to have problems. Because here's what's actually at stake. We're talking about a pipeline that would cut through BC, potentially require exemptions to environmental protections, involve massive taxpayer investment, and reshape energy infrastructure on the West Coast. And the province most affected by all of this was apparently an afterthought. This whole situation perfectly encapsulates one of the biggest frustrations in Canadian federalism. Western provinces constantly complain they're not heard by Ottawa, but then when deals get made, provinces like BC get left out of conversations that directly impact them. It's cooperative federalism, except when it's not. It's one Canadian economy, except some provinces get advance notice and others get news alerts. The optics here are terrible. You've got a Liberal Prime Minister seemingly siding with a Conservative Alberta Premier on an infrastructure project that affects a third province led by another Progressive Premier, and that third province wasn't consulted. Make it make sense. So where does this leave us? Well, Eby's drawn his line in the sand, or should I say, his line in the pipeline route. He wants taxpayer protections, he wants BC at the negotiating table, and he wants respect for basic provincial jurisdiction. None of that seems unreasonable, but this is Canadian politics, where common sense often takes a backseat to backroom deals and carefully worded moves. We'll find out Thursday if Carney and Smith actually listened, or if BC's concerns get bulldozed faster than environmental regulations under a major projects office exemption. What do you think? Should BC have been consulted from day one, or is Eby overreacting? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Canada's latest political drama, smash that like button, subscribe to Canadian Insights for more updates, because trust me, with the way things are going, there's always more chaos coming. Hit the notification bell so you never miss when federal-provincial relations implode in real time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.